All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Designing the Best You. Today, oh boy, today, what are we talking about? We are talking about doing everything right and still not getting a job. Okay. If you're listening to this podcast and this episode, chances are you're a high achieving professional. You're someone who's not afraid to put in the work, right? You've done everything right. You've updated your resume, you've applied to dozens, probably hundreds of jobs, you've optimized your LinkedIn, you've nailed a few interviews, and yet nothing. No offers. Maybe you've been ghosted after the final round. Like you're the second place. Sound familiar? So we're going to dive in today about why that might be happening and what to do instead. Okay. So let's do some real talk. I mean, the way we were taught to job search, the traditional job search is broken, right? Apply online, wait, hope, right? That strategy actually used to work, right? We're all like, yeah, it used to work and now it's not. Why? That's when companies weren't overwhelmed with applicants, jobs weren't filled internally or through referrals, and recruiters weren't relying on some of the AI to filter resumes. Okay. Today, that approach unfortunately is outdated. And we got to stay with the times, guys. Technology is moving pretty fast, right? So here's what I want to say is this is the uncomfortable truth. Okay. You are not failing, but your strategy is. How many times are we in a job, we're in a career, we're even parenting and we're like, oh, that used to work. That worked last time, I'm going to do it this time again, and I'm expecting those same results, right? I disciplined a child this way. I asked a child to do something a certain way. I asked an employee to do something a certain way. I applied this philosophy to something in a meeting, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, that strategy didn't work anymore. And you're like, wait, now what? And you had to pivot, right? So you have to do that in the job market too. You have to with your job search strategy. So if you're still mass applying, if you're still, and I know I talk about this a lot, and all of you guys are like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that yet. Guys, I see it all over LinkedIn. We talk about it in coaching sessions. I talk about it in my free discovery calls. You're playing a volume game in what I've been calling for a while a relationship market. People are wanting trust. And how do you build trust with someone? Not by cold applying, right? Most of these people don't know you from Jack, but through a relationship. And you're like, but I need a job now. Okay, so what are you going to waste your time doing? What are you going to spend your time doing? Are you going to waste your time mass applying like everyone else does, expecting that traction, expecting to win the lottery? Or are you going to slow down and say, okay, yes, I need a job now. This is humbling, but man, I really do need to build a relationship. So, how do I do that? Guys, most jobs, you guys all know this. I'm going to keep repeating it, but they're not posted. And the ones that are, you're competing with thousands of candidates. Come on, we're all really smart professionals here. What are the odds? One out of how many are applying? Average is about 300 to sometimes 500. Some of these jobs are more, but even let's just do the one out of 300. One divided by 300, guys, is a very low percentage. So it's not that you're not qualified. It's not that you're not impressive. It's you're solving the wrong problem and presenting it to in the wrong way. Okay. So let's talk about that's what I feel is the first level of frustration. Let's talk about the second layer of frustration, being ghosted. Right? You get an interview, get excited. You know how many text messages and emails I get? I'm like, that people are saying, I got an interview with blah. I'm so excited. Blah, moving on to the next round. Yay. Right. But then they're ghosted. Okay. And we all do it. So I'm not pinpointing it's the company, the recruiter, the candidate, whatever. Okay. But it's the most demoralizing thing I hear from people on any side. I was the top, and on the candidate side, it's like I was the top candidate and then nothing. Right. Who likes coming in second place? I don't. I like winning. Right. And I think you guys too. But here is the truth. None of us like hearing the truth, but it's going to hurt a little bit. Okay. It's rarely about you as a person. We need to remove that. It's not about you as a person. Just like when you're disciplining a kid, you're not telling that kid they're a bad kid. It's the action that they're doing that isn't right. or the strategy that they're using to get your attention, it isn't right. Okay? So usually when a company ghosts, and this is just what I've heard from people, this is just what I've experienced, this is what I've talked to people at companies at, it's usually about there's a budget shift. I mean, guys, we're in 2025 and we've had a lot of shifts, right? Companies are like, do I have the money? Do I not have the money? Am I going to get the funding from this, like in pharma? Am I going to get it or not? I don't know what our president is doing. I don't know, whatever it is, right? They have a budget shift. Maybe their product is no longer a product that they can use. Maybe their service is really struggling. Maybe they're going through, like we all are, a trust recession where people are like taking longer in the buying cycle to buy their product or service. Let's think about that. Maybe there's a hiring freeze because they started down that process and then their CEO or whoever it was above was like, wait, whoa, we need to stop and we need to reevaluate. Okay. Maybe there was an internal promotion. How many of you guys have been in a company fighting for a promotion and you finally get it? You're like, yes, that actually eliminates a candidate if they were out there also job searching, right? Think about that. Maybe there's a manager who is incredibly distracted or overwhelmed, and the company's saying, you know, we love this manager, but they're overwhelmed, and we need to start focusing on this person. We can't lose this person, right? And heck, guys, I mean, everyone thinks this is the problem, a messy approval process or hiring process, but there's so many other things. It doesn't make it okay, but it doesn't mean it's personal, guys. So many hiring managers I've talked to or recruiters I've talked to are like, man, that person was good. But how do you tell a person that they're good, but not for that job and you found something better, right? And here's where most candidates go wrong. They either completely go silent or they follow up in ways that feels desperate or powerless, right? Or you just give up. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I got that rejection. I'm done. Okay. So I want to present to you in this 3 shifts you can make to pivot into more of a, what do I want to call it? More of a high leverage approach. So if you're done spinning your wheels, you have to pivot into a more strategic, high leverage approach. Think about it with your kids again, because a lot of you guys have kids or have had kids or know people have kids. If you keep disciplining them in the same way and it's not working, are you going to keep doing it that way? I'm real with you guys. Okay. You're not going to keep doing it that way. You're going to shift. You're going to find books. You're going to find coaches. You're going to talk to friends, neighbors, family, right? All those people like, oh my goodness, how in the world? Some of you guys, we even go as far as saying, hey, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but we go and say, oh my gosh, I need to hire someone who is good at helping my strong-willed child. I can't anymore. I feel like I've tried all the things. So if you've tried all the things, heck, if you're trying to fix electrical or plumbing or whatever it is, and you're like, I've tried all the things, man, I just need to hire someone. Okay. But here's 3 shifts that you can make today. Okay. If you're driving, don't take notes, please. But if you're not, please stop and get out your pen and paper and start taking some notes because this is huge, or bookmark it or come back to this later. But the first shift that you can make immediately is stop applying and start positioning. Okay. So many times, and I've even said this over the years too, your resume is your marketing tool. It's actually not. Everyone has a freaking resume. Okay. What is your marketing tool is your story. Your story is your story. You have to ask yourself, literally sit down and ask yourself with that pen and paper, quiet yourself, turn off your phone, all notifications, go into the freaking middle of the forest, legit, guys, if you can. Okay. I'm dead serious about this. Ask yourself, what problem do I solve? If I was going to be known, someone was going to write a book about me, I was going to be known in history for something, what problem do I solve? Think of Henry Ford. Everyone immediately knows, oh, he designed the first car, right? Think about that. What kind of companies do you solve those problems for? That's the next question. What kind of companies? Not everyone's going to solve companies for a law firm, right? Not everyone is. So you have to figure that out, okay? And then you have to figure out what proof do I have that I've solved those types of problems and for those types of companies. This is huge, guys, okay? And then here's the thing. Once you understand your position, your marketing tool is your story and the things that you actually do, then you can update your LinkedIn profile about section to reflect that value, not just your history, okay? Everyone has a history. We don't all need to read about like the companies you've worked at and what you've done. What can you take and present as terms of a value? What is your return on investment, okay, to a company? They're hiring because they need a problem solved. Can you solve that problem? And not just force yourself to fit in that box, guys, but actually say, yes, I can solve their problem, or no, I can't. It's not like, well, maybe, I guess. It's yes or no. Okay. So that's the first one. The second one is I want you to follow up like a peer, Peer. Yeah, peer. Okay. Someone who is a coworker, someone's a colleague, not a pushover. Okay. So here is a very simple script that you can use to re engage with whoever you had the interview with. Okay. Hi, Sally. I know timelines shift so quickly. So I wanted to reiterate how energized I am about X role. Based on our conversation, I can already see that I bring immediate value to, this project or initiative. If things have changed, I would love to stay connected for future opportunities, right? It's short, it's warm, it's confident. That's leadership energy, guys. Leadership. We need more leaders in this world. We don't need followers. Yes, this number 2 is called follow up, but following up is what a leader does and doesn't, even if they were ghosted, you still send it. You still, if you have their address, you still send something, right? Okay. The third one, build relationships. This is so huge. And this is where a lot of you are getting in trouble. Yes, I'm calling y'all out. Okay. Build relationships before you need them. Before, not when you need a job. I mean, how would you like to be that friend that only gets called on when they're out of money? Or that sibling, oh my gosh, we don't talk to so-and-so because all they do when they call is they need money. Or gosh, oh, so draining. All they need is blah. Build a relationship. I don't even know how many personal and professional relationships I've built long before I need them. When I have a favor to ask, it's legit a favor, and someone is so willing to do that for me. If I just met them, think about it. If you just walked up to someone on the street or in the grocery store and you're like, hey, so I do project management, and you know what, I really I don't know if you know anyone, but can you connect me with anyone you know? That's legit what you're doing when you're cold applying or you're reaching out online and saying, basically, give me a job. Okay. Your job is to connect. Yes. And then you have to start at some point. Think about how you build a friendship. Think about how you build a professional relationship. Do you sit in your cubicle at work or in your office at work and not say anything to anyone until you actually need something for a project? No, you start having conversations. You connect with insight, with curiosity, with value, right? For example, I know a lot is online these days, so I'm going to give you some examples for online. Hey, I loved your post on X. I'm curious how you're seeing that play out in your organization. Hey, you know what? I was looking through your online resume here on LinkedIn, and I saw you made a pivot. You went from medical devices into selling porta potties. I'm exploring kind of a similar path, just like pivoting, maybe not into that industry, but would you mind sharing what surprised you most when you did that pivot? What this does is it builds a bridges that gap. And then later, you just have those conversations. I don't know how many times I reach out to people. I'm like, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm sorry, life got a hold of me. This is what's happening in my life. I'd love to get on a call and have, see what's happening in yours or share what's happening in yours. Okay. Because then when something opens up, you're the top of mind. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, I've heard the same thing over and over. You're right that it works. That's why. Build relationships, get on Zoom meetings, get into any kind of like group that you can where you can start building relationships, sharing things. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with this because I'm trying to do shorter and shorter podcasts for you guys. You're not bad at the job search, right? You're just using an old system, right? That's like nowadays with all the iOSs, I don't even know what system or what number we're on now. Is it 17 or 18 in the update at this time of recording? But that's like using a green screen, like DOS programming, right? Remember, guys, when we had to type in where we wanted to go, C:// whatever, right? To go somewhere on our computer. It's like using that system now when we have a great iOS system that's going to get us there. Or we have people that we can connect it with, okay? You're just using outdated tactics, okay? You still have the same level of talent. But here's the good news, okay? I don't want to keep like bringing you down with here's the things you're doing wrong, right? And here's what you're not doing and using a bad system. You don't have to hustle harder. Okay. All of my millennials, raise your hand. We are hustle culture, right? Hustle, 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 hustle. That's how we got things done. We just have to shift a little bit. Our hustle does matter, but we got to shift just a little bit. Okay. Get clear on your value, show up where relationships matter. And guys, start following up like you're a strategic partner with someone, not a desperate job seeker. Okay. And if you do that, guys, if you do those things over and over, don't just do them one or two times. Please don't. Okay. But if you do those things every single day, right? Think about it. If you are owning your own business, you are selling yourself as a service to an organization, right? As a service to an organization. Do you just reach out and remember, if you're selling yourself as a service and you're your own organization doing that, do you give up after one or two times contacting people? No. You keep going. You try different little pivots, telling them basically the same thing about what you do and how you do it, but finding little tiny things. And when they are ready to buy your services, because not everyone's ready to buy right now, keep that in mind. When they're ready to buy your services, you're going to be right there, ready. You got to have a pipeline, guys. Always having a pipeline. Okay. So if you want a bonus guide on my favorite outreach scripts and positioning pivots, I just want you to send me a message with the word ready and I will get it to you. Okay. Whether it's on LinkedIn, that's probably the best place. You can send me an email. That'd be great. But until next time, I want you to keep leading. I want you to keep refining and I want you to keep on designing the best you.